Welcome to Character Craft. I'm your host, Mitchell Drake, and we're going to be doing some quick randomized D&D character builds on this channel. I've got two wheels here. The first one's going to tell us how many classes we're working with, and the second one's going to tell us which classes I'm required to use. I build a lot of characters in my free time, and I love the extra challenge that the randomness brings. Let's get this wheel spinning. Alright, perfect. I found a lot of cool synergies when I'm doing these, so I wanted to share that with everybody. One subclass is not a great start to the channel, so we're going to re-roll this for something a little bit more entertaining. Not super satisfied with the wheels right now. I'm going to work on them a little bit more, so you're going to see them updated in future videos. Two, significantly better. Let's go ahead, head over to the class wheel and see what we end up with. Oh, perfect. We're going to be doing full character design, so I'm going to try and give it some backstory, some scenarios. Cleric is perfect. We're just going to have to keep an eye on Wisdom for the multi-class. So I'm also going to be designing the character in Hero Forge and mention any combos and stuff that are relevant. Cleric Wizard. Okay, so off the top of my head, we have the Arcana and Knowledge Domain Clerics. They may have some synergy. I know especially the Knowledge Domain does have some intelligence stats that are relevant. For Wizards, I can think of maybe Order of the Scribes kind of fits into everything. Abjuration, make us maybe a little tanky. Divination is always good. I can always just kind of rely on Divination if I need to. I'll be back with the full character and we'll go into Hero Forge next. Okay, we are at the Forge, and I am super excited about this character. They're going to be a great option for you if you want to torment your DM, protect your party, or roleplay a fortune teller like a doom speaker of sorts. I chose to go with a Tortle Grave Cleric with a Divination Wizard multiclass, and here's why. Let's start with the race. Tortles, I primarily chose Tortle for their natural armor feature, granting our character an automatic base 17 AC. This is huge because it means we don't have to invest too much into dexterity and can instead focus on pumping intelligence, wisdom, and constitution. You need a minimum of 13 points in wisdom and intelligence for the multi-class to work, and they will also affect the spellcasting ability for those spells from the classes. Higher constitution means more health and a better chance of maintaining concentration. Speaking of concentration, Tortles have some interesting tech to almost guarantee concentration on a handful of amazing spells like Spirit Guardians or Banishment. Tortles have the Shell Defense feature, which lets you hide in your shell as an action while gaining +4 AC. Starting Cleric level 1 also gives us proficiency with shields, which gives us an AC of 19 at level 1 while outside of your shell, or an AC of 23 when inside of it, without any investment into your dexterity score. This also gives you advantage on strength and constitution saving throws, lowers your speed to 0 while in the shell and making you prone, and giving you disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. You can't take reactions or perform any other action other than using a bonus action to emerge from the shell. Lots of actions in that sentence. Now, how does this help us with the concentration spells? The +4 to AC and being prone means we're less likely to take damage to begin with, and even if you are hit, you are rolling advantage on your concentration checks because you're rolling constitution saving throws with advantage, doubling your chance of success. But Mitch, how am I supposed to help the party in a fight when I'm hiding in my shell? Well, that's pretty easy. Choose busted concentration spells that don't require anything other than concentration to use them effectively. There are a surprising amount of support and control spells that combo effectively with the shell combo. You have buffing spells like Haste and Protection from Good and Evil that can give your allies a huge advantage in fights, lockdown spells like Banishment and Hold Person to keep dangerous enemies away from your party, self-preservation spells like Blur to guarantee you stay alive through every encounter, and my personal favorite, Blender spells, AoE damage spells that use you as a focal point and can't be used while within inside your shell. Examples being Spirit Guardians and Cloud of Daggers. I think the two most effective ways to use the blender spells while having 0 movement speed is to either plant yourself on a key point in the map, think like a doorway or maybe a bridge, or talk to one of your stronger allies and have them move you where you need to be. As a DM, because I'm the coolest DM on the planet, I'd 100% let a barbarian player strap your shell to their back and let them wear you like a holy backpack, swinging in rage, screaming with a bunch of angry ghosts surrounding them. I think it'd be really cool. Extra flavor points if they're an Ancestral Guardian Barbarian who can protect you with their Spirit Shield and Ancestral Protectors features. That battlefield will have more ghosts than a haunted Ouija board factory on Dia de los Muertos. I'm 100% on board. Now, after 5 full paragraphs of talking about shell defense, let's get into the classes. I mentioned the Arcana and Knowledge Cleric when spinning the wheel. After looking close at the Arcana domain, their features seemed a little too situational for my liking. Knowledge domain was definitely the better of the two. The 2 free intelligence skills are awesome, and mind reading is always cool. But I eventually chose just to go with the Grave Domain. It offers so much to do when you're not hiding in your shell and making you a little bit more well-rounded. Circle of Mortality and Sentinel at Death's Door let us stay safe distance away from the damage, and also keeps our allies alive as long as possible. Path to the Grave is a huge damage boost to your party, especially any rogues, paladins, or other characters that can reliably dump a massive amount of damage in one instance. For the Wizard, I chose the School of Divination because the Portent ability is so strong on its own, and it only gets stronger with Sentinel at Death's Door. You have a legitimate level of control over the DM's rolls, and Portent can be used while within your shell. Expert Divination is going to make you so relevant outside of comment that your DM will have to design entire sessions around this character. The Divination subclass can also be combined with Path to the Grave in an insane way if you roll a 20 for one of your Portent rolls. Just target an enemy with Path to the Grave and make them vulnerable for the next instance of damage they take from your party. Have your Paladin attack that enemy and grant them the automatic crit from the 20 you rolled in Portent. Then they can dump their highest level spell slot and add a bunch of extra d8s to maximize their crit damage, then double that damage again because the enemy is vulnerable, effectively quadrupling the Paladin's damage that turn. This can happen at level 4. Your DM is going to be praying for you to stay in your shell the entire time. I think this character peaks at level 8 when you have access to both Portent and Sentinel at Death's Door features, but it definitely stays relevant throughout the lower levels due to your insane utility and support options. Most campaigns don't make it into the teens, but by that point you can cast both Revivify and Fireball regularly if you balance the levels correctly. What else do you even need at that point? Let's hop into the backstory of our character. Given their ability to see into the future and predict misfortune, I chose to make this character an absolute coward who is cursed with visions of his own death and spends every waking moment hesitantly choosing his next steps, afraid that they're going to be his last. This works with the existing lore of D&D, as Tortles canonically live very short lives, living just 50 years on average. He's anxious and obnoxious know-it-all and easily falls into hysterics when any mention of the future events are brought up. As time goes on, he is desperate to find a way to increase his lifespan and is, honestly, considering lichdom as a legitimate solution. He is fully aware of the hypocrisy of this idea, and I've chosen to name him Turkleberry Terranos, the healer in a half shell. As a forever DM myself, I think I'd love to have Turtle as a character at my table. Having a character with so many opportunities to derail me gets my creative juices flowing. Knowing that every roll I make against the players will need a contingency gives me the opportunity to really let them know that they're in control of the narrative. Story-wise, a character who can see into the future would give me an easy method of sending prophecies and omens to the players, pushing their character stories further, highlighting the main plot line, and honestly, sending them in-game threats that tell them to cut the crap. I like that Turtle's desperate and cowardly personality doesn't fit into the stereotypical altruistic and calm traits usually thrown upon clerics. I honestly think Turtle would be a great NPC in one of my games as well. He has a lot of personality, can easily info dump whatever is necessary for the players, and has a great way to keep himself safe for the players so that they don't have to spend 100% of their time and energy protecting him. The potential of him returning as a high-level lich would give the players a problem to prevent or an enemy they have historical attachment to. I can imagine the personality shift from the cowardice to the overly confident, knowing that he's now undead and doesn't have to risk a natural perishment. For gameplay, Cleric and Wizard spells are always relevant, and this would slot well into any party with a frontline. Having a Grave Cleric in the party gives me the green light to let loose a little. I can increase the difficulty level of encounters and really make every fight seem life-threatening, because I know Turtle can keep them alive as long as I don't steamroll them. Exciting climaxes to fights are always present. Path to the Grave comes back every short rest, so that's plenty of opportunities. Plus, I don't think I'd ever get bored of seeing a turtle shell sitting in the middle of a throne room, surrounded by 100 square feet of spinning blades and 12 terrified guards reconsidering all of their life choices. Or maybe watching Turtle scream his lungs out while a giant struggles to hit his shell while Blur is active. It's important to note that this character build isn't without counterplay. I only need to drop a fireball on Turtle to put him out of commission because he's always going to fail his dexterity saving throws while in his shell. It doesn't matter if Turtle can solve every riddle I throw at him or counter my rolls when I can just drop a boulder in front of his path before the character even arrives. I can understand some DMs who have the forethought to see the shenanigans this character might cause, not allowing Turkle to hit the table, especially for something like a one-shot. The player would have way too much control over a lot of the actions of the DM, and that might not be healthy for a story that's on a time limit. Definitely run the character by your DM before surprising them with Turkle and ruining their night. You know, we're all here to have fun. There's no need to go out of your way to make someone miserable. I want to thank everyone for sticking around through the video. I'm playing around with the format to see if I can find a rhythm that I like, and I'm considering adding a playstyle wheel for the extra challenge. Let me know if you have any ideas for a wizard or cleric multi-class, or any ideas for future videos in the comments, and otherwise, sleep well.